What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Tampa Bay, an ESPN NFL 2K5 series where we traded for Tom Brady for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers way back in 2004. We got a great win against the St. Louis Rams by a score of 38-3, and we're hoping to take that momentum into Chicago, I guess at home, against the Bears. But first, we're going to throw it to Chris Berman and SportsCenter.
Hey, I'm Chris Berman. Got a lot of games to cover. Let's get at it. In our first game this week, we had the Seahawks edge their way to a narrow 3-point win. Mo Williams stepped it up this week and gave his team some added firepower for the win. We had a big injury in this one, and Trey has the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Boomer, thanks. In front of you, we've got the AFC Infirmary Report. And as you can see, they were hit hard this week. Ray Lewis will be on the sidelines for a while, so this defense will need to do some reshuffling in his absence. Knee tendonitis is the report. He'll be out for 5 weeks. In front of you, we've got the NFC list. And as you can see, they could form their own MASH unit. Julius Jones might be the biggest loss on this list. A hairline fracture of the arm is the initial report, and the doctors are saying he'll be out for the rest of the regular season. There's a chance, however, they'll get him back for the playoffs. Now the big story of the day. Deuce McAllister will be on the sidelines for a while, and that is not good news for his club. So that'll do it for now. Chris, let's send it back to you.
In a long-standing NFC rivalry, we had the Packers win their 4th game of the year. Dante Hall had over 50 yards receiving and helped his Chiefs beat the Jaguars. Down in Dallas, in the Lone Star State, we had the Cowboys get sent away with a 7-point loss. Redskins, Bears. Mark Brunell is at the opponent's 29-yard line. He swings out as a safety valve. Look at him do this! The defense never saw him! Touchdown! The Redskins go on to win this by the final score of 14-10. Over at the Cleveland Browns Stadium, we had the Browns edge their way to a narrow 3-point win. The Jets won at home, but will take to the road next week to meet the Patriots. We had an interesting free agency pickup of note here. Trey's got the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris. Let's switch gears and talk about players that'll have new homes in the National Football League, as free agency continues to play such a huge role in determining a team's makeup. Sam Madison is going to find himself with a new club, and he'll be in a new tax bracket too. 4 years, $11.9 million, plus a $1.1 million signing bonus. Marvin Jones is on the move as well, as he signs a 3-year contract with the Bills. Jason Gilden is on the move as he gets a contract for what can only be referred to as crazy money. 6 years, $22.7 million. On top of that, a $2.2 million signing bonus. Jeremiah Trotter will also have a new address for a while as he signs a 4-year contract with the 49ers.
The Chargers defense held their opponents to under 150 passing yards in their win at the Georgia Dome. David Please Come to Boston stepped it up this week and gave his team some added firepower for the win. Broncos, Raiders. The incomparable Jerry Rice is so dangerous inside the red zone. And call signals at the 5, and there it is, a quick post, a slant touchdown. The Raiders win this one by the final score of 14-7. In a long-standing NFC rivalry, we had the Buccaneers win their 5th game of the season. We had a big trade also of note here. Trey's got the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris. Well, trades aren't quite as common in the NFL nowadays as they are in other sports, certainly. But we've got news to report to you on the trading front nonetheless. Brad Johnson leaves the Buccaneers and is on his way to the Patriots. He'll take with him a couple of draft picks as well, a first-round pick and a future first-round pick. So here's a guy that's got a pretty big challenge ahead of him as he'll look to bring a little energy and know-how to that offensive unit. In exchange, they'll get someone to beef up their roster. Tom Brady is a guy that ought to be able to fit right in with his new club, and he should make his presence felt over time.
Chris Brown rushed for 2 touchdowns and helped his Titans beat the Texans. And in our final game, we had the Eagles come away victorious. So another week in the books here on ESPN, but what do you say we hand out a few game balls before we go? Here's my primetime players. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Now that we're caught up on the news from the last week of football, let's get caught up with what's going on this week. We are still without Keenan McCardell, 3 more weeks on the injury report with that pulled calf muscle. And all eyes are now on Rex Grossman and the Chicago Bears. He has not had the best of seasons to start out his second year in the league. 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions for the young Gator. Thomas Jones out of Virginia is having a decent sixth year, 282 yards, no rushing touchdowns to his name, which is somewhat confusing. Marty Booker, an 88 overall, 256 yards and 3 touchdowns so far for the Louisiana Monroe veteran. And then something to note about the Chicago Bears is that they have a really good offensive line. We've got Olin Kreutz up the middle. He doesn't have the best blocking numbers, but he's still a 91 overall. Next to him is Reuben Brown, also anchoring this fantastic offensive line. He is also a 91 overall. Flipping over to the other side of the ball on the defense, a couple of very, very good linebackers, starting with Jason Gildon. He was a free agent signing for the Chicago Bears, as well as Brian Urlacher, pretty much at the peak of his powers, 96 overall, already has 38 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 interceptions through the amount of games that we've had so far, 5 games so far that the Bears have played. And then behind him, Mike Brown at a 94 overall. So several pieces of this defense are elite. Everyone else is still pretty dang good at football, and the only person on the injury report is Hunter Hillenmeyer, who has a broken forearm but is still probable to play, which means he will be seeing the field today. So we stack up well against the Bears, but we will have to do our darndest to get the win because we know that their defense is always going to show up. So let's show it to Boomer one more time in the studio.
Hi there. I'm Chris Berman. Here we go on ESPN. People's thoughts in mid-October naturally turn to postseason baseball and the World Series. But as Week 7 of the NFL comes your way, we've got our own version of a fall classic lined up for you here. Chicago Bears, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, now!
All right, and away we go on a beautiful day in Tampa Bay at Tampa Bay Stadium in Tampa, Florida, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Tompa Bay Buccaneers, if you will, welcome Brian Urlacher and the tough defense of the Chicago Bears. Now, one thing that we noticed right away is that Tom Brady was not under center, and apparently he has food poisoning, so he's questionable for now. Does not mean he's not going to play today. I guess spoilers, he's going to feel better later on in the game, but we have our backup Brian Greasy in the game, and Greasy steps up, completes his first pass over the middle to Charles Lee. That's a 7-yard gain. Backing up for a pass on second down, feeling the rush, getting it over the top of what looks like a really good play by Joey Galloway, making a 30-ish yard completion way down the field. We run it for the first time. Charlie Gardner runs into a couple of Bears defenders. He's only able to get a yard on that one. We go to the shovel pass with Gardner this time, who tries to run away from the grip of Brian Urlacher. He is somewhat successful. That's a 3-yard gain for a third down, and Brian Greasy shakes off the rust on the old accelerator and runs forward for a first down thanks to the tackle by Lance Briggs. Allstott has some room to the outside, uses his speed, uses the stiff arm, takes the hit, but is well past that first down line. We got to throw the wave for that one. That is a great run for a first down by Mike Allstott. Gardner, Greasy, dropping back, finding Gardner on the screen. Didn't really do a good job of catching that in stride. He's going to lose a couple yards on this one. Greasy over the middle to Charles Lee, and that one is caught for the touchdown. Charles Lee, his second reception of the drive, and Brian Greasy just comes out of nowhere on the bench. I guess this is why you have a vet on the bench holding things down. And he takes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers all the way down the field for the score. The kick is up and good by Martin Gramatica. So the Tampa Bay Bucs are going to take an early lead here in the first quarter. The Bears starting from their own 20-yard line. First pass of the day for Rex Grossman. He finds Gage over the middle. That's a nice gain up to the 39-yard line. Jones's first run is up the middle for just a yard. Kenny Holmes is in there on the tackle. Holmes has been playing a little bit better since we changed these sliders. I think the tweak that we made has helped him get a little bit more penetration off the line, which is what we signed him for. But that one, no penetration was to be had. Thomas Jones running wide right on the toss play, getting a first down and then some. So I thought this was good defense. You could have told me it was good defense, but I would have believed it. But the referees disagree that it was good defense, and they're going to go ahead and call that one a defensive pass interference on Ian Gold. So that's going to give the Bears some good field position. Dropping over left, throwing right, incomplete pass from Rex Grossman. 2nd down and 10, dropping back to throw again. Dangerous pass, almost interception, batted away by Derek Brooks. Good defense by our elite linebacker. And then we leave Marty Booker alone over the middle. That's an easy catch for him, and he's going to move the chains for the Bears all the way into a goal, 1st and goal situation from the 10. Rex dropping back, throwing it over to the middle, and we fail to stop them on even the first play of their goal line drive. So Rex Grossman throws a strike and finds his best receiver in the end zone inside of the defense, and that's going to be a score +1 with the extra point being good. So the Bears respond in kind, an 80-yard drive over just 7 plays, and the Buccaneers take the ball back. No Tom Brady yet, which means Allstott continues to put the team on his back. That's a 7-yard run for our big fullback. Gardner gets the next run on 2nd and 3, cannot make a move. He gets stopped right at the line for a 3rd and 3. Greasy dropping back, finding Michael Clayton all alone on the hook route. Just left alone by Peanut Tillman. He's able to gain a few more yards on the turn and burn. Gardner finally breaking a tackle, turning inside, getting into about the 7-yard gain territory, and that's going to take us to the end of the first quarter. The score is 7-7. Brian Greasy is absolutely holding his own as we come up on a 2nd and 3 situation. Greasy looking left and deep for Galloway again. This one is going to fall incomplete. I believe that was his first incompletion of the game, but Allstott this time is not able to create room for himself. There's a very formidable defensive line. We were not able to clear them this time, and we have to punt that one away. This one's going to bounce a couple times. It looks like it's going to stay in the field, and we just miss the tip to keep it out of the end zone. So that means Rex Grossman and the Bears are going to take back over from their own 20-yard line. Technically, that is not a sack. He scrambled out of it. It's a 1-yard gain. Thomas Jones hit almost immediately by Derek Brooks. Another 1-yard gain. That's a 3rd and 8. That one is going to be a sack. Simeon Rice gets right by his tackle defender, and he's going to take Rex Grossman down for his first sack of the day, forcing the Bears to 3 and out, punt that one straight back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jones is going to have a decent return on this one, but you can see the flag is down on the play, and usually that is not good news for the team that is returning, and this is indeed bad news Bears. A clipping call on the returning team, so that's going to send us pretty far back to our own 38-yard line, and pretty much erases any punt returns yards that are going to be credited to Jones for the day. Gardner gets about 4 yards on that run to the left side outside of tackle, probably the best run he's had so far today. Brady throws it to Gardner on the flat, is able to spin out of 1, spin out of 2, spin out almost out of a 3rd, but he is taken down by the shoestrings by Brian Urlacher. A little comparison of the production. I'm not sure why Gardner is on this list, but Joey Galloway, 311 yards and 1 touchdown. As you can see here, Tom Brady back in the game. Nearly 1,500 yards for Brady so far in this season. He has himself 12 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, and Mike Allstott has gone to work. 2 shoulder charges, a gnarly stiff arm, and a stiff arm so gnarly, he took Jerry Azuma out of the game. Jerry is being carted off. You can see him holding that knee there, and Mike Allstott must feel supercharged that TB12 is in the game. Tom rolling out to his right side, looking deep over the middle for Michael Clayton, who had it in his hands, and it looks like that one was poked away from his vice grip. So Tom's first pass falls incomplete. Second play of the drive from this position is going to be a 3-yard gain for Charlie Gardner, trying to force his way up the middle. That means Tom is throwing on third down, once again looking over the middle, and Charles Lee, he's been the guy 3 times today. Charles Lee really stepping up with his extra playing time now that we don't have Keenan McCardell. Mike Allstott making a defender pay with his shoulder. That brings us to a 2nd and goal. We're going to give Charlie Gardner the run, who sneaks over to the outside, uses the blocking, and he is in for the score. So he doesn't have many yards in this game, but he made that one count. We made the right play choice, and we go back on top with Charlie Gardner sneaking to the outside, getting away from those defenders. They would have caught him quickly, but not quickly enough to get into the end zone. The point is up and good from Martin Gramatica, and with just under 3 minutes left to go, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are up by a score of 14-7, but there's plenty of time for stuff to happen in this half. Smith takes the nice kick. He's going to return it to about the 27. That's going to give the Bears some decent field position, except for when Grossman throws it straight backwards to Thomas Jones, who loses 3 yards on a great tackle from McFarland. But then we went with a cover 1 blitz, and Grossman recognized it, and he was able to hit his guy in stride. So great job by Rex Grossman hitting his guy for the first down after losing 3 yards on that questionable first pass. Grossman throws that one to the left side. It's going to be caught, but it's going to be caught out of bounds by Thomas Jones. That's going to bring up 2nd and 10. Grossman connects with his man on the quick hook route that gets him 5 yards forward. 3rd down, 5 yards to go. Big play here for the Bears to keep the drive alive. He throws it pretty much into 3 defenders. There was 1 Bear in there, but there were 3 Buccaneers doing their darndest to make sure that that pass fell harmlessly to the ground. So we kick this one away from the Bears. We're going to go ahead and field that one from about the 10-yard line. Blocks formulating in front of Jones. He cuts upfield, gets to about the 25-yard line. Brady, this is enough time for him to get the Bucs down the field. He finds Michael Clayton immediately. Beautiful pass deep down the right side from Tom Brady. Food poisoning who? I barely even knew her. Tom on the play action, throwing over the middle, and that one was very, very close to being intercepted. Thomas is lucky it was not going the other way on this one. Not a lot of time to work. Tom starting to run for his life, runs for his life directly into a Bears defender. I believe that was Michael Haynes getting in there for the sack. Tom, once again, throwing left, bobbled up by the receiver and intercepted by Mike Brown. The Bears were swarming on that one, and they came away with their food. I believe this one was deflected up in the air by Michael Clayton, who was going for the catch, but it was Mike Brown who came down with it, and that is going to do it for the half. Tom Brady deciding he is fit to go, and even though he has not played as well as Brian Greasy so far in this one, he's Tom Brady, and when Tom Brady says he's good to play, well, damn it, Tom Brady's going to play. We hold the lead regardless. We've got 116 yards through the air. We've got 83 on the ground for 199 total. We're killing them in time of possession, but we did give that one turnover there towards the end of the half. The player of the game so far, I gotta wait for this one because I'm not totally sure who it is. It is the one and only Charles Lee. Good for Charles getting on there with his 3 catches, 33 yards, and the 1 touchdown. He has absolutely been the MVP of the first half. So we're going to go ahead and kick this one off to the Bears since we did receive. That's one of the better kicks that Gramatica has had, but it is still going to be returned by Smith coming out of the end zone. He throws the shoulder but barely gets past the 20-yard line. The Bears take over from their own 22. Grossman rolling back, hits the throw. You thought that was going to be intercepted, but instead he's streaking down the field. I believe that's Berrien with a great catch and run, bringing the Bears all the way into Tampa Bay territory. I believe we're in about the 40 now. We're past the 40 with that catch and run a couple yards before the hit and stumble. It's now 2nd and 4. Thomas Jones going nowhere, running into a couple of Bucs defenders at the line. It's now 3rd and 4. They go with the run again, and Jones is able to stretch over the line with that tackle from Derek Brooks. So a great first down conversion there by the Bears. Dangerously close to being intercepted by Smith there. Grossman on that errant throw. 2nd down, throwing to the right side again. Very close to being picked by Ian Gold, playing with fire here. And then Kenny Holmes puts out whatever embers are smoldering. Great sack by our defensive end. Brings up a 4th and 16 and takes them out of field goal range. Jones calls the fair catch, still dives for this one for some reason, and he muffs the reception. So the Bears are going to take over with a 1st and goal. So basically, that was like a long 4th down pass. Thomas Jones trying to shake and bake, gets hit by Simeon Rice. It's only a gain of 2. Jones going to the outside. He gets the block where he needs it. Not going to get hit by Quarles. And Jones is in the end zone for the touchdown. Rex Tucker is the correct person to shout out right there because we thought we had him with Ian Gold pursuing to the outside, but that block by Rex Tucker, even though he caught the pancake, was enough to help Thomas Jones get into the end zone. So Jones, who has been a very solid punt returner so far in the season, makes an awful mistake, muffs the punt, and the Bears only need one play to get into the end zone. Brady rolling left, throwing on the move, not able to find Michael Clayton that time. Maybe the sickness is catching up with him here in the second half as he not another one. R.W. McQuarters comes up with the interception after the ball is once again bobbled up in the air and put up for grabs. So this one, again, a second interception for Tom Brady that you might have to put directly on Michael Clayton's shoulders. The ball hit his hands. He does not take the hit well, and the Bears once again find themselves in possession of the football inside of Tampa Bay territory. That first run goes nowhere. It's going to be a 2nd down and 10. This time we get a coverage sack. Simeon Rice coming through for his 2nd sack of the day. Great job by our elite pass rusher getting through and creating pressure on Rex Grossman, and Grossman has to succumb to the pressure once again. 4th and 15 coming up. This one is technically inside of field goal range, but it is going to be outside of the range in which Edinger can make the kick. So that one flies far wide left, and I guess technically no harm, no foul as we come up for another possession. Brady throwing left to Joey Galloway, very dangerous pass. Mike Brown getting in there and making the hit. Charlie Gardner rolling out to his right side. You can see a couple of flags get thrown on the play, and for the 2nd time in this game, and kind of an omen for things to come, we get hit with a clipping call. So from here on out, unfortunately in this game, Charlie Gardner's stats are going to be very skewed. It sends us all the way back to not only a 2nd and 25, but it just totally screws you when it comes to the stats and how they're counted, because he loses like 30 yards in his stat column. Anyway, Brady misses his tight end over the middle there. He is going to find Allstott, who immediately runs into a receiver. I'm not entirely sure why we threw to the flat there, but whatever the logic is, we are going to have to punt that one away because you're just not really going to survive going all the way back to a 2nd and 25 and then not gaining anything on 2nd down. So the Bears take over once again. Grossman underthrows Thomas Jones, or I guess behind throws Thomas Jones. Anyway, that's going to bring up a 2nd and 10, a 2nd and 11 now that Simeon Rice is hitting hard in the backfield, and another shovel pass does it for Thomas Jones and the Bears. They sneak through again up the middle, and that's going to bring up a fresh set of downs. Thomas Jones hitting the counter, bouncing back to the left, bringing up a 2nd and 5. Jones gets the run again, tackled by Quarles, still a 2-yard gain. Bringing up a 3rd and short, 3rd and 3. Grossman choosing to throw it, and this one's going to be intercepted by Darryl Smith. Darryl Smith gets up there, athletic grab there, and you got to show off your athleticism by giving him that 360 spin. 2nd interception, I said Darryl Smith for Dwight Smith. 16 tackles and 3 interception for our guy hanging out in that free safety position. Hasn't gotten a ton of shine in this series yet, but shout out to Dwight Smith for making a great play. Brady on the run, finding Michael Clayton, actually held both hands on it this time. You love to see it. Gardner getting the carry to his left side, hit by McQuarters, and he's going to be tackled just short of the 1st down marker. So we've got an interesting one here in Tampa Bay. We're heading into the 4th stanza with things all tied up at a score of 7-7. Mike Allstott running up the middle, getting the inches and then some, bringing up a fresh set of down in Bears territory. Brady throwing over the middle, Michael Clayton making the catch, and that's going to be a 2nd 1st down in a row for this Tampa Bay offense. Gardner getting up the middle, fighting through the contact, still making 4 yards before ultimately being brought down. Allstott using his blocks, using his shoulder, tries to use the stiff arm, but you're typically not going to get out of the grip of Brian Urlacher, especially when you're tired from breaking a couple tackles. But what a great run there by our guy. Gardner making the catch on the flat, making a guy miss with the juke, and getting tackled just short of that line. So we got to give it to Mike Allstott one more time, get our big guy into the end zone. It would have been nice to potentially get Tom another touchdown so he could, get his flow back, but I was just feeling good with the run. The run was what was working for us, and we go ahead and take the lead, 21-14, 5:17 left in the game, and we're going to do our darndest to hold on to this thing and try and keep it at arm's reach for the rest of this one. Gramatica kicks it off to about the 5. Smith fields that kick. He's going to spin out of one tackle from Edwards, get away from Gramatica here. A good block there. Is he immediately going to get all the way down the field? Will Allen giving chase and finally tackles him at the Tampa Bay 20-yard line. So exactly what we needed to not do. We let the Bears march all the way down to the 20 with an incredible kick return. And Thomas Jones, when he is close to that goal line, he is immediately sniffing for it. So it takes the Bears 17 seconds to go technically just 20 yards because it was an 80-yard kickoff return. And in just one play, Dwight Smith not able to make the tackle after making a great interception. Thomas Jones ties this thing right back up for the Chicago Bears on the extra point from Edinger. And that is going to be a 20 yards, 17 seconds. And we've got a score of 21-21. However, 5 minutes is plenty of time for Tom Brady to work his magic, but not if he's going to be throwing passes into double coverage like that. We go back to the run. We go back to Allstott. Manages to get through one on the shoulder charge. Works through another just by pure strength. And you can see here Mike Allstott is the one bright spot of this Tampa Bay offense. So far going for 10 for 92. He once again takes the carry, has a lot of room in front of him, gets a first down and then some. Tom rolling back to pass, rolling a little further, looking deep for his receiver. That's Dilger getting the deep pass over the middle. That's going to take us about 30 yards down the field, all the way up to the Bears' 30-something yard line. Gardner finally breaking out of a tackle, but he can't break out of it fast enough. R.W. McQuarters making another great tackle there. Lots of good plays from R.W. Brady zooming that one to the flat, but we're going to lose the yards that we gained. And just like that, we're stuck at a 3rd and 10, and then we hit Galloway up the middle with the quick slants. Not a play that works as often for us, but it worked for us that time. Allstott, the difference with Allstott is when we're running hard, he gives us a chance to work through the tackle. We're running at this point because we're inside of the 2-minute warning. That's why the Bears called a timeout. They call another timeout right there. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 4 situation. We fake the handoff. We toss to Allstott. He can't get the first down, so that forces us to take the field goal. The Bears have no timeouts left, but they do have plenty of time to get down to the field, and all they need is a field goal to win this one. So their job is far from done. Our job is right in front of us, and that's hopefully to play a little bit of dang defense so we can take home this W. Smith is not going to return it all the way to the 20-yard line. This time he's going to return it to our own 25, so they have about, let's say about like 30, 40, 50 yards to go. First pass by Grossman to the left side, just out of the hands of his receiver. That one falls incomplete. Thomas Jones going to get the run, going to get hit by Gold. You could call that one a loss. He was hit somewhat in the backfield. You can see despite the 2 touchdowns, we have kept Thomas Jones somewhat in check. No huge runs. And guess what? Whenever they have a 3rd down, they just go to the god darn shovel pass. The stupid shovel pass gets them another first down. I don't think I realized that they beat us on the shovel pass 3 times in this game, but when you watch it all back and do the commentary on it, it becomes very apparent. Getting a nice pass over the middle, that is not Booker. I believe that's Gage or Berrien making a great reception, and Rex Grossman trying to lead his team into overtime. That is A dangerous pass, but it didn't get intercepted by any Buccaneers defenders, so I guess no harm, no foul. Grossman over the middle again, this time connects with his receiver. It was not going to be a first down, but the refs decided that this one was going to be a face mask on the defense. So not pass interference, but a face mask on the tackle by Mario Edwards. Got a little too excited. Rex Grossman now officially over 1,000 yards for the year. He's got 40 seconds. He doesn't have to get his team that far down the field. Technically, they are within field goal range right now, but making hits in the backfield will certainly help our cause. Grossman, 2nd and 12, tossing to the right to Thomas Jones. He's almost out of that tackle from Ian Gold, but Ian's going to get him 20 seconds, winding down, 3rd and 9. This is the game right here, everybody. 15, 14, tick, tick, tick. The talk goes down. Grossman dropping back, throwing to his right side. He's going to miss Marty Booker, and we potentially have a game-tying field goal. The kick is up. It's from 51 yards away, and Edinger redeems himself. After missing a kick from 50 yards away, he hits that one from 51, and time is going to expire with a little bonus football in this episode. The score is 24-24, and we are going to overtime in Tampa Bay. I believe this is Tom Brady's first overtime game. I'm sure he is still feeling under the weather. He doesn't have a ton of passing yards, 2 interceptions to his name, but we will see if our defense can hold and we can take home this win. The Bears do have the ball first. Rondé Barber making a great play on the ball, keeping it to a 2nd and 10. Grossman looking to pass again, throwing it over the middle. That one's going to be caught by Gage. He rumbles forward to a 3rd and inches. They go with the run to try and get the first down. Thomas Jones squeaks through the block, and he is off to the races. And it looks like he's got no one in front of him, but it's Rondé Barber who takes the stiff arm but pushes him out of bounds. And we are once again up with our back against the wall. We lasted this long, but as the 2nd play of overtime, the 3rd play of overtime, Thomas Jones finally breaks out for a big run. He is now over the century mark with 104 total yards on 17 carries. You can see his average jumped up by nearly 2 yards per carry with that big rush. 104 yards for Thomas Jones, once again being shouted out by the broadcast. And Grossman does not have a lot of yards to go, and he almost throws an interception to Will Allen if he was more on that, but it's going to bring up a 2nd down. 2nd down also very close to being intercepted. A flag is thrown on the play, and we've got an offensive holding called on the Chicago Bears line. We actually choose to accept this holding call to make it go farther back just to see if we can get them to at least throw an incomplete pass. Grossman throws it away. He's lucky that it wasn't an intentional grounding, and they go ahead and take another kick from 50-plus yards out, and we survive another miss from Paul Edinger. So we rolled the dice, and we turned out to gamble correctly. So our hopes are still alive for a victory. Tom dropping back, throwing to Camella, and he just bricks the catch off of his forearms. You can't put that one on Brady. His receivers have continued to not really show up for him today. I don't know what it is. Maybe they were scared of touching the football because they thought he was sick. Our tight ends are not afraid of touching the football. Dan Moore making an incredible grab. Brady under pressure. The safety, Green, coming through for the sack, and that's going to just kill all the momentum that we had right then and there. Brady trying to get some yards back, going to throw to Juravicius. He's not going to be able to make the catch. That one was a little bit behind him, a tough catch for him to make with Peanut Tillman breathing down his neck. And another 3rd down situation. We floated up to Charles Lee, who was so good in the first half, but I think we were just putting him in an impossible situation right there. He's not able to hold on to the ball, and we have to kick that one away. Punted over towards the right side of the field. It looks like Tillman's going to return this one. He makes a nice juke, gets away from a couple defenders, but it looks like he gets caught up on a couple of his blockers, so that's going to bring up a first down at about the 28-yard line. That one, once again, tipped away. It'd be really nice if we could pick one of these off. It would instantly change the outcome or the momentum of the game, and once again, off of 2 Tampa Bay defenders, but none of them could hold on to it. Apparently holding on to the ball is a difficult thing for any of my defenders in this game, but we force another 3 and out, and with 5 minutes left here in this overtime period, we are getting another punt from the Chicago Bears, so the ball is quite literally back in our court. Jones getting the punt return, not getting a clipping call, but also not getting a lot of yards. We take over from our own 31. Brady throwing over the middle to nobody. I'm not entirely sure where he was trying to go that way. We get the carry with Allstott. We hit the counter. He's only able to get about 3 yards. So once again, a 3rd and long situation. The offense not totally doing it. We throw it to Dilger over the middle, who has it in his hands, and he drops it on the hit from Mike Brown. Honestly, that one could have potentially been called a fumble, and I wouldn't have necessarily argued with it. So I'm glad that they just called that an incomplete pass. Although Tillman is always dangerous on a return, he gives the Bears the best field position they've had yet as they start from their own 37-yard line. That one was almost a sack. It turns into a catch by the fullback. That's an 8-yard gain, and then some. Thomas Jones getting out to the outside, throwing a nasty stiff arm on Simeon Rice. You don't see that every day. Getting out of bounds with a nice first down, and then some. Jones getting a call on the next play. That's going to bring up a 2nd and 5 on the 5-yard gain. Tackled by Derek Brooks. Grossman rolling out to his left, throwing it left. He gets it to Thomas Jones, who is forced out of bounds by Rondé Barber, and the Chicago Bears are getting close. Jones works out of one tackle, gets hit by McFarland. That's a 1-yard gain. 2 minutes about left in this quarter. Jones is going to take it up the middle, get hit by, I believe that was Smith getting in there on the tackle. That's a 3rd and 8. This is a big play, and we can't stop him. Gage makes a nice catch over the middle. One-on-one coverage has not been our strong suit today, and they go straight to the field goal with Ettinger, and honestly, I don't blame one. That one is up and good. Ettinger only hits 2 out of his 4 field goals, but he hits the one that matters. And the Chicago Bears come into Tampa Bay. They take an advantage of an ailing Tom Brady, who was absolutely not at his best in this game. But when you have Tom Brady saying he wants to go, you have to stick with Tom Brady. Of course, it did not work out in our favor this time, and we drop this one by a score of 27-14. We end with 198 passing yards, 117 rushing yards. The time of possession got a little bit back in the Bears' favor, and they were able to find some offense in no short part because of Thomas Jones. He goes for 22 yards, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Thomas Jones was absolutely brilliant and absolutely the linchpin that kept this Chicago Bears offense running. Concerning the rest of the game, you look at the stat sheet, and it's hard to argue that I shouldn't have left Brian Griese in. Brady ends with 130 yards and 2 interceptions, but I figured this is the Tampa Bay series. You got to ride with Tom through the ups and the downs. Allstott ends with 110 yards and a touchdown. Charlie Gardner, don't even worry about his stats, but he puts another touchdown on his stat column. Looks like Clayton was our high receiver with 53 yards. It was nobody who got in the end zone for a touchdown for us, and it looks like it was a tackle party in Chicago. Simeon Rice and Smith had the most for Tampa Bay. Brooks and Quarles had the most assists for Tampa Bay. For sacks, we had 2 for Simeon Rice and 1 for Kenny Holmes, so the defensive ends were doing a little bit of work. Plenty of pass deflections, but no interceptions, which is what, you'd like to see. Sorry, we had 1 interception, but we probably should have had more interceptions this game. So we take that loss. We're going to go ahead and end up showing the SportsCenter for the bye week. So if you've made it this far, enjoy the bye week SportsCenter, a little extra content. And don't forget to leave a like or a comment or subscribe to the channel. So for Peanuts 24/7, we'll end up seeing you on the next one.
In our first game this week, we had the Giants bring out the whooping stick and cruise to a 34-point win. Jesse Armstead stepped it up this week and gave his team some added firepower for the win. Shannon Sharp had over 50 yards receiving and helped his Broncos beat the Bengals. In a long-standing AFC rivalry, we had the Jets win their 5th game of the season. At the home of the Indy 500, we had the Colts win by a comfortable margin. Over at M&T Stadium, we had the Ravens edge their way to a narrow 3-point win. Falcons, Chiefs. Priest Holmes is taking a look at the defense behind the quarterback at his own 14-yard line. Whoop! There he goes with a beautiful spin. Celebrate a touchdown. The Chiefs go on to win this by the final score of 17-12. The Seahawks got 300-plus yards from their offense in their victory at Tempe, Arizona. The Raiders won at home, but will take to the road next week to meet the Chargers. We had a big injury in this one, and Trey has the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris, thanks. In front of you, we've got the AFC Infirmary report. And as you can see, they were hit hard this week. Ray Lewis will be on the sidelines for a while, so this defense will need to do some reshuffling in his absence. Knee tendonitis is the report. He'll be out for 4 weeks. In front of you, we've got the NFC list. And as you can see, they could form their own MASH unit. Julius Jones is probably the one that most leaps out at you. A hairline fracture of the arm is the initial report, and the doctors are saying he'll be out for the rest of the regular season. There's a chance, however, they'll get him back for the playoffs. On to the serious news of the week. Jerry Azuma will miss the remainder of the season. So now that secondary is going to have to really come together if they're going to make up for his absence. Now we'll move on to our top story of the day. Deuce McAllister is going to find himself on the shelf, and that will be a major blow to his team. So that'll do it for now. Boomer, back to you.
Simeon Rice had yet another productive game, keeping his streak alive, but in the end, it wasn't enough to get the win. A.J. Touchy-Feely threw 3 strikes to the end zone and helped his Dolphins beat the Rams. Titans, Vikings. Steve Air McNair looking over the defense from the 22-yard line, and a pump fake. Everybody stops. Oh, that buys the time for the TD. The Titans win this one by the final score of 27-10. Over in Cleveland, home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we had the Browns get nipped by 3 points. And last but not least, we had the Packers come away victorious. So that'll just about do it. But before we go, I'm going to toss out a few game balls to my prime-time players. Each and every one of these men had a week to remember. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.